Hello, today's video will be on normal balances. My name is Mary Collins and I will be your host. We will start with normal balances is defined as the side of the account that increases that account. Accounts are broken up into three major categories: assets, which is everything owned by a company; liabilities, which is everything owed by the company; and stockholders' equity, which is money invested by the owners into the company. Stockholders' equity is further broken up into two subcategories, which are common stock, money given to the company by the owners; and retained earnings, which is profit that is kept in the company by the owners. Finally, retained earnings are broken up into revenues, which are all the money received from customers, and expenses, which is all the bills paid in the process of earning that revenue. Let's look at the ledger account. The T account is the basic format for a ledger account. The left side in accounting is referred to as the debit side, and the right side is referred to as the credit side. The top of the T is where we place the title of the account. We will be looking at a mnemonic called dead curls, which will help you to memorize whether the left side or the right side increases an account, because debit does not mean increase and credit does not mean decrease in the field of accounting. Let's start with debit. Normal balances: dead, which is debit expenses, assets, and dividends. In this T account, the left side increases the account and the right side decreases these accounts. Let's look at some titles of individual accounts that are increased on the left side and decreased on the right side. These include expenses incurred by the business in the process of doing its business. These are wages and salaries expense, supplies expense, rent expense, and utilities expense. They all increase on the left side and decrease on the right side. Another category is assets, such as cash, accounts receivable, supplies, land, building, equipment. These are all items owned by the company, and when you buy them, you increase by debiting, and when you do something like pay out money, you decrease it by crediting it. Next is the stockholders' equity account, dividends, which increases on the left side and decreases on the right side. So that's dead: debit, expenses, assets, and dividends. The normal balance, the side on which these accounts increase, is the left side, and the right side of these accounts decrease these accounts. Next, we will go into curls. Curls are credit, unearned revenues, revenues, liabilities, and stockholders' equity. For these accounts, it is the right side that increases these accounts and the left side that decreases these accounts. Then there is the title of these accounts. Let's look at some of these accounts. First is unearned revenues, such as unearned ticket revenues, unearned subscription revenues, and unearned rent revenues. These are advance payments from customers. They are unearned because the services or the sales have not been provided to the customer as of yet. These accounts increase on the right side and decrease on the left side. Next is revenues. Are services and sales that have been provided to the customer. And these are sales revenues, service revenues, and rent revenues. They also increase on the right side and only decrease at the end on the left side. This, like the expense accounts, are record keeping accounts and therefore increase during the fiscal period and only decrease during closing. Then there is liabilities, items owed to suppliers and outside organizations by the company. These are debts. Some of the accounts under this category are notes payable, accounts payable, and salaries payable. They increase on the right side and decrease on the left side. Finally is stockholders' equity, such as common stock and retained earnings. These increase on the right side and decrease on the left side. So remember these dead curls: unearned revenues, revenues, liabilities, and stockholders' equity. Finally, let's look at normal balances. Under assets, they increase on the left side and decrease on the right side. For liabilities, they increase on the right side and decrease on the left side. And for stockholders' equity, they increase on the right side and decrease on the left side. Remember that stockholders' equity is further broken down into common stock and retained earnings is further broken down into revenues and expenses. So remember your dead curls. To help you do so, I'm providing you with links to the website Squib, where you will find the mnemonic handout, which is a job aid for normal balances. You will also find the list of accounts and its subcategories and the normal increases and decreases. Finally is my website for C&M students, and you need to be a student with a password in order to use this particular site. Thank you for your interest in this, and I hope this helps you with your normal balances.